Hi there, I'm Timothy Linsdau, video producer and a Christian. Also interested in politics, putting on my politics hat today without getting too political. Let's see what we can do about that. So, like and comment on my videos, subscribe to support my channel. And this has to do with the headlines in the paper I saw today. Courts blocks new rule barring asylum seekers in the day of dueling rulings. Ruling in San Francisco by Judge Tigar blocking Trump's new ruling on stopping an asylum flood, asylee flood, asylum seekers, all the same thing. And versus decision came in the same day. Federal judge in Washington hearing a separate challenge let the new rule stand, briefly delivering the administration a legal victory on this subject. The flood that's coming across our southern border, the biggest thing started with the Central American caravans coming out of Honduras and Guatemala, which is probably being set up by the drug cartels, because they virtually have turned into travel agencies, as I mentioned this before. They convince people that if they get up across the border, claim asylum, and boy, they're in. Well, it's not quite working that way. And again, what a business setup for the cartels. They take express buses to the border. They take their fee and give them a ticket. I've heard they even support them with food, whatever it is, and they bring them up, drop them in a specific place to cross. We've talked about that before. So you've got this big asylum rush, and that spreads around because people are making money shipping these poor people. Some even from China. They put them in shipping containers in the worst of conditions, take every bit of money they got, send them over here, and next thing they know, they're stuck in limbo. Because part of the new rulings is they're sending them back. In other words, okay, they cross the border, they claim asylum, and the border officials basically are saying, okay, and they give them an interview, take down a ton of information, which I've been told could be a half-inch thick folder of information, and they send them back to whichever city they've come across from. Here it would be Tijuana. They send them back, and again, the Tijuana system is overloaded. Their government has stopped paying money to the nonprofits that are taking care of them, so it's a big, giant, tangled mess. And apparently Trump was trying to get a handle on it by stopping all asylum cases, by slowing it down here, trying to come up with something to slow it down. That's basically what happened. If you're applying for here's what he was trying to do. You can't apply in the U.S. if you've come into another country, whichever safe country you come into, Central America or Mexico, you're supposed to claim asylum there first. If you haven't done that, then you can't claim asylum here. Well, of course, the judge is saying that Honduras and Guatemala are unsafe. Mexico is unsafe. This is the only safe places here. So it's semantics and rulings about who's safe and who isn't safe. I have my opinion on that from seeing things being on the border with Mexico. Know people that have family down there or live down there, seem to have a normal life. Yes, things are probably more in your face down there than they might be here. That's probably true, but that's what Trump is trying to use to slow this down. Is whatever country you're in or you come into, you claim asylum there first. And that's one way he's trying to control it. It says the new rule is likely invalid because it's inconsistent with the existing asylum laws. This Judge Tigger in San Francisco wrote in his ruling Wednesday, adding that the government decision to put in place was an arbitrary and capricious. Well, aren't some of the ACLU and judge rulings a bit the same? I mean, I always wonder where all their money comes from. ACLU and activist groups, so-called nonprofits that are bringing all this stuff takes money, and the lawyers they're paying for. That kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? The government, which is expected to appeal the decision, has said that the rule intends to prevent exploitation of asylum system by those who unlawfully immigrate to the United States by clogging up the immigration system. I just think it's possible they're just trying to overload the whole system. It could very well be a combination of all those things. Excuse me. You could have, from other things I've reported, you can have activist groups that are, they may have family members down there. I understand that emotion. You want them over here. You got a good life. In fact, the people that come over and claim asylum that were let go into the system, into our country, some of them probably living in some shack behind their relative's house. I don't know. Stuff happens, you know. People want to help out their relatives. And it's probably hundreds of thousands of people. It's a big country, almost 340 million people could melt into the country and disappear. Hondurans and Salvadorans have to apply for asylum and be denied in Guatemala or Mexico. So that takes me back to what I was first saying. They're coming out of another country and they're crossing to the next one. They have to claim asylum there. That's what they're. It's a tactic to try to slow it down one way or the other. And the political brinksmanship that goes on between parties, the president, it's just our system. It's a back and forth. Somewhere there's a deal made somehow with some compromise. A lot of it very untasteful, but that's the grimy side of politics. The guys that made that Constitution had seen endless war and strife and governments, and they knew a lot of history. They had experienced it. They'd just come through a revolution on that issue. They understood what was going to take to even try to keep a republic functioning as Benjamin Franklin was asked at the end of the signing of the Constitution. Somebody asked him, he says, what have you guys done? And he says, well, we've made a republic. And then he said, if you can keep it. And there's your issue. And this is part of it. Can you keep this republic? People talk about an open border, which I don't know. I think they might be getting that from the European Union, where you're moving across borders like a sieve. But do you have a country if you don't have a border? Do you have a country if you don't have a culture or language? Somebody say borders, culture, language makes a country. If you don't, and again, there's got to be. America is an idea. That's what it is. It's an idea. It's about liberty. Okay, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness given to you by your Creator. It's outside of you, a gift from outside of you or outside of man. That's the great part about it. It makes it really special. Everybody has these rights, but the government is the one that's supposed to protect them. So here's the thing. When you're coming into this country, you're not a citizen, then why are we required to protect those rights? And that's where this gets really muddy, because other people are saying, well, it doesn't matter. You have human rights around the world, so we're just supposed to take everybody in and protect them. We know that's not possible. And I think a lot of people would just as well stay in their country and be happy. Maybe we should work on that. Trump's so good at business. Send some business people down there. Let's make deals. You got some hard-working folks here and need jobs. What kind of business deals can we make with these monster companies in our country? Back, forth, I don't know, whatever. I see tons of trucks coming back and forth across the American and Mexican border here. Manufacturing facilities down there, coming up with a product, sending it down there. They put it together and bring it back over here. It's better than sending it to China, who ends up. I heard a good story about China, that you can invent a product, set up a deal, send it to China to be manufactured. Before that manufactured product gets back here, the Chinese will have copied it, manufactured it, and flooded your market before you can get your product back. Now, how is that for a friend? Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, the asylum wars go on. I've mentioned this before. In the days of the Cold War, when people trying to claim asylum out of the communist countries, it all made sense, and they weren't coming in by the jillion, which is what's going on now. So, you know, I don't know what your opinion is, but somehow it's got to be controlled. You can't have our borders being a sieve and just anybody pouring in here. It's got to be something to it. I know you might feel bad for them, I do too, but we've got to have some order. Well, let's hope and pray that we can work this out without further mess. I doubt there won't be further mess, but at least not getting violent about it. So, you know what? Even though in these trying times, get out there and make it a great day.